The senator's silence, a Stoic tale from the heart of Rome. The marble halls of the Roman Senate echoed with shouts. It was a time of unease. The Emperor Domitian had grown paranoid, and men were vanishing, not from illness but from politics. Whispers filled the forum. Informants walked among friends. Eyes were always watching. Among the senators stood a man named Cassius Quietus, a name few remembered, though he had once been a respected orator, known for sharp arguments and calmer moods. In his youth he had studied under Stoic philosophers, men like Musonius Rufus and Junius Rusticus. But now he spoke rarely, not out of fear, but by choice. One morning before the Senate convened, a fellow senator whispered, "They say you've spoken ill of the emperor. Privately. Be careful, Cassius." Cassius nodded but said nothing. He did not defend. He did not react. He simply adjusted the folds of his toga and entered the curia. That day, the emperor himself arrived. Tall, grim, and dressed in gold, he stood before the assembled men and pointed directly at Cassius. "This man has insulted Rome by insulting me. He dares question my rule. What say you, Quietus?" The chamber held its breath. Cassius rose. He did not tremble. He did not plead. He did not shout. He simply stood still, his hands folded calmly in front of him, and said, "Nothing." The emperor narrowed his eyes. "Do you deny it?" Still, Cassius said nothing. Domitian stepped forward, face reddening. "Speak, damn you!" But Cassius remained silent. A younger senator cried out, "If you don't defend yourself, it means you're guilty." Cassius finally turned to face the room. His voice, when it came, was quiet, measured like a man choosing his last words with care. "I have lived many years in Rome. I have spoken when it was useful. I have remained silent when it was wise. Today I choose silence again, not from guilt, but from discipline." The emperor sneered. "So you admit it?" Cassius met his gaze. "You may judge my silence as you wish, but my conscience is not chained to your interpretation." There was a pause. Then Domitian laughed coldly. "Take him away." Guards stepped forward, but before they reached him, Cassius turned once more to the Senate and said, "Remember, fellow Romans, not all who speak are brave, and not all who are silent are afraid." Then he was gone. Cassius was exiled to a rocky island in the Aegean. His name was erased from official records. His house was seized, statues of him were melted. But he did not rage. He did not grieve. He walked the shores of his new island home, barefoot, content. A fisherman once asked him, "Are you not bitter, Senator?" Cassius smiled faintly. "What they took was never mine. What I keep cannot be taken." He lived alone, tending a garden, reading scrolls, teaching philosophy to local youths who brought him olives and questions. "They exiled my body," he told one boy, "but not my reason. What man is imprisoned if he holds dominion over himself?" Years passed. The emperor died, stabbed in the night by his own men. The Senate, eager to erase the shame of his tyranny, restored the names of those unjustly punished. Cassius was summoned back to Rome. He returned, older and grey. The crowd expected a triumphant speech, a tale of suffering, of wrongs endured. Instead, he stood at the rostra and said, "I do not hate those who banished me. I do not praise those who bring me back. Time is a tide that erases and reveals. I simply remained steady as it passed." He stepped down. The people were stunned, not by grandeur, but by the absence of it. Cassius retired from public life soon after. In a small home near the Tiber, he spent his final days writing letters to former students and walking alone at dawn. In one of his last letters, found years later, he wrote, "They demanded my voice, but I gave them my silence, and in that silence I found more freedom than applause ever gave me." Stoic lesson. Cassius Quietus shows us that silence is not weakness, and self-control is the greatest defiance. In a world that rewards outrage and noise, the Stoic chooses measured restraint. He teaches that not every insult needs an answer, that your peace is more valuable than your pride, that true dignity is internal, untouched by politics, mobs, or emperors. Like the teachings of Epictetus, Marcus Aurelius, and Seneca, this story reminds us, to speak little, and only when necessary, is to master both others